everyone, it's Emily and Little Miss Inca here, and Bunny. We mustn't forget Bunny. Yeah, so it's been a while. I mean, it's been a while. It's been like, I don't know, 2 or 3 weeks? 2 weeks probably, which I don't know. It feels like longer than it has been. Um, I will just apologise because there is something going on in my village today, like something loud. So my house is very near where it's going on. So if you hear kind of background bass, that'll be what it is. It's driving me insane and it's only been half an hour. So yeah, just please be aware of that. And I'll try and make this video as short and painless as possible so it's not going to drive you insane as well. So today I am going to change her into this lovely little outfit. I've changed her into this before, but I don't think I've done it on the tube. And it's this beautiful little flowery dress and these little this little diaper nappy cover as well. And I'm going to talk about a subject which is a little bit more serious, I think, than the subjects I usually talk about. And it is to do with reborns and reborns affecting mental health and sort of, I guess, posing the question and trying to answer the question of whether, you know, reborns are good or bad for your mental health. Because I don't know, I think all of us who have been in this community for any period of time, even a second, will have come across, you know, people being very critical, saying that we're all crazy and that these dolls are not it's not a healthy pastime to play with these dolls. And I think these are mostly unfounded, but there is some cases where I do believe playing with these dolls is unhealthy. So I'm going to kind of, yeah, touch on the pros and cons of reborns and mental health. So my biggest pro for reborns and collecting in general is oxytocin. And we all kind of, I'm sure like most of us are aware that these dolls are used quite frequently in retirement homes and care homes, and they are often donated to be used with people, you know, who have trouble relaxing. So the reason that they are used so frequently to help anxiety is because of oxytocin and because well, I've got Google help me with this. I've got my horrible cracked phone here, and basically when you are holding a newborn baby and actually especially when you breastfeed, which makes sense, oxytocin is released in your body. And basically oxytocin is primarily associated with loving touch and close relationships. It's a hormone that provides a multiple whammy of warm fuzzies by stimulating dopamine and serotonin while reducing anxiety. So basically, oxytocin being released into the brain can only be a good thing. And you know, if it has been released by holding one of these dolls, then, you know, that is such a lovely way of it being released. You know, that's not using any kind of antidepressant. It's tricking your brain into thinking that, you know, you're holding a newborn and you're getting those warm fuzzy feelings. Obviously there is no research to do with if reborns actually do release this chemical, and I'd love there to be like proper science behind this, but I think I don't know, I think for me it's kind of very evident that oxytocin is released because I feel warm and fuzzy right now just looking at her. And when I hold her, especially with dolls that are weighted and feel real, you know, you can't help but kind of just, I don't know, the brain is tricked, and those warm fuzzy feelings are, you know, released. And so for me that can only be a good thing, especially if you are having a few mental health issues in general with anxiety or depression, or you know, any number of mental health issues can be you know, helped by happy chemicals, you know. So many antidepressants that, you know, their purpose is to help the levels of serotonin and whatnot, and this is just a completely, you know, harmless way of doing that. Like, for instance, taking a walk, you know. By the way, I'm not saying that reborns are a cure for mental health problems. That's 100% not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that a lot of people think, or a lot of people who maybe are not in the know think that reborns would negatively affect your mental health. And I'm saying that because of oxytocin, they can positively affect your mental health. So my next pro is that this is actually a surprisingly social hobby. And when I first sort of got into it, that was not at all why I was intrigued. You know, I didn't like, I'm being real right now, but I didn't like go into this thinking I'm going to make lots of new friends, you know. I literally just was besotted with the doll, and yeah, it hadn't sort of crossed my mind that being interested in the dolls and then, you know, sharing them on social media would help me meet so many people. But it really has. Like, these dolls, I don't know. I mean, this community, as we like to call it, for some reason I always cringe so much when I say the reborn community. I don't know why. I just cringe. But all of the, you know, lovely people who are watching this video who like reborns just as I do, I mean, it is a great way to find people who are a bit like you. Like, if you, I mean, it doesn't always correlate, but you can imagine there is a type of person who would be attracted to a hobby like this. So you're gonna love babies. You're probably going to be at least a little bit creative. Like, I have met like so many people who are interested in the artistry side of these dolls, and also like dressing them, taking pictures of them. A lot of people like this hobby for a lot more reasons than just babies, and yeah, I find that really fun too. And I've met a lot of really nice people from all different ages as well, because this is kind of a hobby which I really feel does not have a specific age, like target age group. Like, if I was creating a reborn shop, there'd be no like target age group that I would try and get to come into the shop, because, you know, when you go to a doll show, there are people from 11 to 90. You know, the age group just stretches enormously. These dolls, you know, really attract children, obviously, and yet they really attract, you know, a lot older people as well. And yeah, one of the people that I would like classify as one of my closest friends now, I met through this hobby, which is like the strangest thing. And yeah, it's just really lovely, and that obviously a social outlet is good for your mental health, especially if it is not always online. But I know, you know, 9 times out of 10 the social interactions we have to do with this hobby are online, because I think it's pretty rare for, you know, a lot of us to know people in real life who are interested in these dolls. But even so, you know, it's still really good for you to be social. and humans, you know, we're not meant to be alone or feel alone. And so yeah, that's another really positive thing about this hobby. So my last positive thing is pretty simple and pretty self-explanatory, and that is just that playing with these dolls is fun. And it's a type of fun which is a very childlike type of fun, and I don't think like grown-ups, I don't think we have enough of this particular childish brand of fun. Like for me at least, my fun, like my fun outlets usually have a purpose, even if they're fun. But with these dolls, I don't know, they're the only hobby that I have which has no bigger purpose. It is literally like I just like these dolls because they're fun. And that is as deep as it is, you know. There's nothing, there's just nothing deep about this hobby. There's nothing I don't know, that's really how it is for me, and I know that is how it is for a lot of people, that, you know, it is just pure and simple joy to collect these dolls. And what am I doing to this poor child? And so that's really good for you to have things in your life which are not, you know, ambitious or driven, especially if you're wired in that kind of way like me. I'm quite a ambitious person, and it cannot always be a good thing, especially when you feel like even all of your hobbies are just things to progress your future. You know, that's not a healthy attitude. But with reborns, I mean, there's no point to playing with them. Do you know what I mean? There's no point other than that it is fun. And I think, I don't know, I just think that's really good. I think that's been really good for me, and I think that's really good for everyone to just have pure fun in their lives. So so those are my 3 pros. So then do have 3 cons as well. But I do want them to sort of be taken with a pinch of salt, because even though there are 3 of each, I do think that the pros obviously vastly outweigh the cons. So my first con is about when it goes too far. And I don't mean role play. Actually, I have quite a long video right back in the day, I think it was last year, where I did when role play goes too far. I'm not talking about that right now. I'm literally talking about when, on the very rare occasion, a person crosses the line from treating this doll as a doll, which means they're role playing but they still know it's a doll, totally great, to when they do things and they are not completely aware that it is a doll. And I think this happens almost never, you know. I think people who role play, I think 99.9% of them know exactly what they're doing. You know, they know that they're pretending, they know that it's fun, they're releasing that oxytocin, it's nice, it's cozy, and there is no problem with role play in general. But there is a problem with obviously feeling some kind of pressure to look after the dolls. And I really don't think this happens often. So next would be getting obsessive. And I am totally, like, this is totally a trap I could easily fall into, because I have like a really obsessive personality. And these dolls are a lot of money, and they are never going to be real. They're never going to feel real. They're never, you know, you can do as much as you know, you could be the best artist in the world, and you will not end up with a doll that feels half as real as a real baby feels. Sorry, I don't know whether I'm going to put these on her. I don't really like putting shoes on her. Oh, cute. They're way too big, but they're cute. But anyway, sometimes I think I've been a bit obsessed in the past with this hobby, and sometimes I look at others and think, wow, that's a bit obsessive. Not in a judgmental way. Sorry, that sounds really, really judgmental, but just in a way where I'm like, you know, maybe that's not for the best. And I do think these dolls, because they do look so much like real babies, can sometimes bring out an obsessive nature, whether it be trying to, you know, desperately find like the perfect doll, and whether it's, you know, just a lot of disappointment when, you know, the dolls aren't right, and just that kind of obsessive-y. I can't describe it any better than obsessive, but obviously, you know, I think all hobbies fuel obsessive personalities. I know I could get obsessed over anything. I have in the past got obsessed over TV shows, films, books. Like, I'm a total enthusiast, so when I love something, I don't love it like 50%. I love it like 100%, you know? But, you know, obviously if you do get really obsessed with anything, it's unhealthy. So, you know, that is something to watch out for. These shoes do look kind of ridiculous on her. I'm sorry, baby girl. I'm sorry. Your feet are too little, and they just I'm not feeling it, honey. So last but not least, my last thing kind of goes with the one before, the obsessive, and that is this hobby kind of breeding dissatisfaction. And it's definitely something that I'm sure, you know, we're all aware these babies are not substitutes for real babies. And if you're broody and it's actually something which is, you know, very, very difficult for you. I know in the past, like, I'm quite young, but I suffer a lot with broodiness and just like really wanting a, you know, a real baby. And obviously I don't, like, not yet, because I have my whole life ahead of me, and I'm at a point in my life where my studies, you know, really need to come first. But obviously there's a side of me which is just like, you know, evolution's going wild and I want a baby. But yeah, you can't look to this hobby to be a substitute for that, if you kind of, if you know what I mean. And I think if you do, that's pretty unhealthy. So that was my video, all done now. I guess the conclusion is something like that. Obviously, taking a hobby, any hobby, too far is unhealthy, but that this hobby's pros far, far outweigh its cons, and that I think one of the reasons people, you know, call us all crazy and say it's not good for us is, you know, a stigma that is societal and isn't really real. So that's my opinion on that. And yeah, me and the little ink will be back, and hopefully we'll be back, I don't know, with something like, I don't know, I kind of want to do role play and I kind of want to do outings, but I don't know, I don't have the time or the energy, so who knows what we'll be back with, but we'll be back with something. Okay, thank you so much for watching this video. I'll bring it back up to you. Thank you for watching. Bye.